Welcome to the custom card review. And in this review, I'm going to go over Dark Story archetype. It is like Mooncalled, but I call it the Dark Story because sometimes there's like stories are like Mooncall's Dark Stories is dark in some parts, but not all of them. No, I'm not copying. I want to see if you mix two series together. So, yeah. First we got Dark Story Fox Girl, and she's a main character. So she's a dark level 4 warrior effect monster. And before we go into it, let me give you a little what I was trying to do for this archetype. I was trying to go for a mix between it and vampires. Because usually in the story, the vampires moves and So, yeah. But these guys have search out abilities. You can some of them you can tribute one or tribute themselves to bring out another one from the deck. So yeah. So let's start things off with the main characters, and let me hold on. Give me a moment. There's about 9 cards. Yeah. So Dark Story Fox Girl. She's a level 4 dark warrior effect monster. Her effect is once per turn during the battle phase, you can tribute this card to special summon one Dark Story monster from anywhere to your field in attack mode. If you do, negate all card effects or negate all cards from your opponent's field and their hand. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to add one spell/trap card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So basically, I was trying to go for her search out Dark Story Fox of Darkness, because his effect is if this card is special summon, you can activate one of these following effects. You can special summon 2 Dark Story monsters from anywhere to your field in attack mode, and they gain 2,500 attack and defense for each Dark Story card from your field. And the other one was supposed to be I'm trying to find it, but it's supposed to say during there was one. It has the other effect that allows you to inflict damage to your opponent's life points, but I don't see it. And now it has a once per turn during your opponent's end phase. You can tribute this card to special summon one Dark Story monster from anywhere to your field in attack mode. And If this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle this card back into the deck, and then you draw 2 cards from the top of your deck to your hand. So most of these cards, like, have their effects cannot be negated. And so the card that it's basically searches out the entire like deck thing. So basically if you use it on so this one, normal summon or special summon 2 dark story monsters. So it's basically summons where is it? These 2, but when they're like, you can inflict damage to your opponent's life points for each dark story. Yeah. So if you search 2 of them, that makes it. Yeah. And this one, it has a quick effect similar to the Fox of it, but it has a graveyard effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard to add 2 dark story monsters from. Yeah. So then the card that this card like special summons, sometimes you could summon his werewolf form. This card is treated as that. And yeah, really good plus for a archetype that's. Yeah, plus you can also shuffle 1 card like from your banish zone or graveyard or the hand into the deck and shuffle it, and then you draw 2 cards. But this one, when it attacks, and you can pay 100 life points for it to destroy all cards on the field, and their effects cannot be activated. And this card then makes like 3 attacks per battle. Plus tribute this card to special summon 1. Yeah. So basically you could summon itself, his human form, that brings out 2 more if these 2 got destroyed. Yeah. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're on to the dark story Vampire Queen. It is a dark level 4 zombie effect monster. She is treated as like just a vampire queen on the field or graveyard. If this card is normal summon, you can activate 1 Piano of Vampires card from anywhere to your field zone. And if it does, all monsters from your opponent's field, their names become dark story monsters. If this card battles a light monster, this card loses 100 attack and defense to return all cards. Yeah. Because in the books, the Fox Girl, that's the main character, does the sheep thing. And when she puts it on the vampire's queen's forehead and does that, yeah. Yeah, and this card can, and basically If this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle this card to, and you can inflict damage to your opponent's life points for each. Yeah. So then the card that this card searches out, this one, searches out this one. And all vampire monsters, because she is treated as a vampire monster, so basically her name becomes the Vampire Queen. So she gains 500 for each dark story monsters from the field. If a dark story monster or monsters on the field loses 100 attack for each, or attack and defense for each end phase. It's basically like Venom Swamp, but with you don't have to put counters on it. But this card, if this card is in your graveyard, you can you can shuffle this card from your graveyard into the deck. And then you can special summon 2 Dark Stories tokens to your field. Level 12, 75,000. And defense is 35,000 defense in attack mode. So yeah. And then now we are on the spell card, I believe. Yep. And this one, and Dark Story Lose Control. Once per turn during your opponent's draw phase, you can tribute 1 Dark Story monster from the field to the graveyard, then skip your opponent's turn. By itself, it's crazy, but it's once per turn, so you can't just keep reusing it to annoy your opponent. And yeah, you can also special summon 1 story monster from anywhere to your field in attack mode. If this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle this card into the deck, and you can inflict damage to your opponent's life points. So basically, some of these cards earns, like this one, allows you to inflict damage upon, in the graveyard or nowhere else go. So yeah, I think, was it this one? No, it was some of these cards you can inflict 500 damage and to your opponent's life point. Here it is, this one. This one, you can inflict damage to your opponent's life point or each one. And this one too. So basically you could use effect damage to your opponent's life points. And then a trap card called for this archetype is Dark Story Silver Bullets. This card can only be activated if your opponent attacks a Dark Story monster. Before damage calculations, you can discard 1 card from the top of your deck to the graveyard to negate that attack, and if it does, the attacking monster gets returned to the bottom of the owner's deck. And then this card's... yeah, basically this card is instead of going to the graveyard, it is metal scarecrow, or yeah. But this one, if it does go to the graveyard of somehow, you can shuffle this card to draw 3 cards from the top of your deck. Basically, yeah. So, most of these are broken. I said most, but some of them, I may put too many restrictions on it. Because you need certain types. Okay, like for this one, you need only a certain like archetype that it's locked to, you know. You know? To be like, you could skip your opponent's entire turn, basically. Draw phase? Nope. Draw phase? Nope. Draw phase? Nope. No draw phase for you. Yeah, basically, these 9 cards is strong enough by themselves. Like, each one could search out a spell / trap cards when they're in the graveyard. They could tribute, or most of them could tribute themselves to bring out another one during, like, in your opponent's battle phase, or battle phase, or your opponent's end phase. And then some even, yeah, some of them couldn't even allow your opponent to conduct their any turns. Basically, like, at all. Like, vampires thing, if you really think about it, it's usually, she's not affected by it, so, because she's treated as a vampire queen. Her name becomes Vampire Queen. So it has vampire in it. So, yeah. Name. And if this, yeah, so, and plus she probably gains attack from her own, from the spell card for each, and each one loses 500 in attack, or actually loses 100 attack. So basically, yeah. And the silver bullets was, you could just basically, it doesn't destroy the monster, it like returns it to the deck, bottom of your deck. So basically, yeah. If you had 3 of these, man, your opponent would never play a Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. Because you have cards like this one would make them lose their battle phase. And the, like, oh, you need to do, like, tribute 1 monster. So basically, they're to skip your opponent's entire turn. Because let's say you had a, you know, like that feeling of sometimes when you, like, lose to a game and you, like, lose all your progress and your loses control of yourself, becoming rageful. Yeah, this card is like the same thing. Because some of them in the story can't, like, function properly, so yeah. Plus, most of them attack each other's. So, yeah. Plus, if someone tries to get rid of it, this card can be shuffled into the deck and inflict 200 damage. So basically, and your opponent would auto, like, if you got rid of 3 of these, that would have been 2, 4, 6, and Karns. Or, that's about 6,000 life points. And yeah, that's crazy. You could have just be like, plus, if you had a Eye of Truth and bad reaction to some Otzi in this deck, if it was a deck, you could have just like, boom, I win. And yeah. And I know that usually vampires and werewolves are 2 separate people. Well, or they don't like each other that much. So that's why for the Piano of Vampires is basically like that. So basically, yeah. For each end phase. So basically, your opponent, let's say your opponent had Blue Eyes White Dragon. And this card was on the field before. Or you could just change it to a dark story. So it would be kind of interesting, like, it would be like my Dark Fiends archetype. Because most of those cards has a word Dark Fiend, Avion, and because they got consumed into the story. Right. So, yeah. So basically, this card is basically probably busted if you use it on its spell card. Turn. Because it turns turns all of them into dark stories cards, like dark blue eyes, white or blue eyes, dark story dragon. And yeah, it loses attack, but for each end phase. So basically, yeah, and this card gains, like, for each one. So basically, it gains 5 monsters on yours, and no, 4 on yours, 5 on your opponent. Do your math. So it's 9 times 500 is something. It's so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, probably 4,500 attack to be added to her attack. So yeah, basically you could have just destroy it, and basically you win the match. If you use, like, take a card plus, I don't know, but man, if you use battle against Blue Eyes, probably he's a light monster, right? Yeah. And I did look it up, and yes, it is the. So, like, if you get rid of, if this card loses attack points, or yeah, returns all cards from your opponent's field and hand to the deck and shuffle it. Then both players draw 2 cards. So basically, you could add all cards from your opponent's deck to your hand, to your opponent's deck. So basically, yeah, this card could be overpowered or what? Like if you use it online. Yeah. And plus tribute like one of the other ones to skip your opponent's entire turn. This card goes again. Bam! 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 Yeah. It would have been devastating if you used like, yeah. Plus, if there was a card that's in Yu-Gi-Oh! That allows you to basically, or no players could activate their. Of course, activate this one. Negate all your opponent's card effects. And to special summon like the Vampire Girl, and then her effect goes off, boom. You instantly win. Because once she attacks, it's game over. So, yeah. So, do you think this archetype's too strong? Do you think this archetype is too weak, or... Because in my eyes, I see it as weak. Because it needs, like, more, like... Because with all these cards, you could just be, like... Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. So, yeah. Plus, she doesn't just do it, like... She turns all your opponent's monsters into, like, the dark story versions of themselves. So, like, they gain that dark story part in their name. Like Buster Blader. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Can be called Dark Story Buster Blader. Or, yeah. I know this is just the archetype thing. To see how it plays out first. I might make some changes when I actually test the deck out with these cards. So, yeah. So, please leave a like, share, subscribe, do all the fun things. And do you think this, when you're down there, please make sure that is this archetype too bad, too good? Craziness. Okay? So, peace.